How's it going, folks? We are back. We are live once again. You are listening to Beyond Sight and Sound, metal detecting and treasure hunting radio for you, the always valued and appreciated listener. A little late tonight, fashionably late. Apologies, what can I say? I got caught up in traffic. The dog needed surgery. It was a real dicey thing, I don't know what to say. These things happen. Last week, we did have a little bit of an internet glitch. Hopefully, powers of the internet and Skype to be as they allow. We'll get this one off without a hitch, and it's going to be a great show, I'm sure. We're checking the chat here real quick to see if we've got people dropping in, and yes, we do. I see Grandma Tam, Cool Beans, shout out to Ringfinder, Beer Barrel, Brother Chris is in the house, Greg Stryker, Ohio Relic Hunter, Mr. Bill in the house. Very good, very, very good. As you know, if you have seen the promo, tonight we've actually got a very interesting guest. It's something that we haven't had the chance to touch on much with the show. We have touched on it occasionally. Let's see. We've had Abby Silva on from Dig Wars. We've had Jocelyn Elizabeth. And tonight, we've actually got Sam Waters from right here in Ohio, actually. So I'm sure this could be interesting for, say, Ohio Relic Hunter and Ringfinder and the other Ohioans who may be tuning in. And I see that Tiltsy just checked in. Shout out to Todd. There is a good possibility that the Dirt Bandit may not make it tonight. Some things happened last minute, which our thoughts and support out with him. He's going to try to make it in tonight, so we're going to see how this goes. Right now, I am solo without the net, and we do have Sam on with us. So let's roll on with it and see what happens. Let's get Sam in here. How is it going, Sam?
Hey, it's going great. How are you doing?
All right. First off, I guess, thanks for taking the time to sit down and chat with us tonight.
Thanks for having me on. I do appreciate it. It's great.
Not a problem. I'm very, when it comes to the topic, I'm very intrigued with women in metal detecting. Not so much, some people may look at that as, oh, well, yeah, because they're not as popular in the hobby or something like that. No, that's not the case at all. It's just, I think it's really great that we are seeing more and more women get involved with the hobby. Because it's not just a male sport, so to speak.
Not at all. Not at all.
And in many cases, they're out there making, at the very least, just as good of finds and, blazing their own path, in a sense, just like the rest of us are.
Right.
And that's what it's about. It's not a competition.
Right. No, it's not. I mean, in the metal detecting world, we're all out for the same thing. We're saving history. We're recovering relics. We're telling a story with these, and it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, because it just depends on how well you know your machine and your research, and just getting out there and getting it done and taking your time and finding the stuff. I mean, it's great. It really is.
Absolutely. Shouts out to First Capital Digger, Digging Freedom, Brother Frank, and I just thought I saw another name come through there. Not real sure where that went. I may have missed that. Oh, Swansea. How can I forget him? And we're joined by Beer Barrel, Mr. Chris Engel himself. How's it going, Chris?
Good evening. Good evening, Brother Josh. Hello, Sam. Sorry, Josh, I'm late, but as we discussed, how computers tend to want to update it
Yeah.
the most inconvenient times. Well, this one did.
Absolutely. We've had a little bit of technical issues on this end too, but so far, knock on wood, we'll get through this just fine.
Oh, yeah.
So let's start off with, I guess first off, you may want to let the listeners know, for those who don't know Sam, who is Sam Waters? How long have you been digging? What are you running?
Oh, goodness. I run the White's MXT, and I've been digging for about 10 years. I started off years ago. I was actually 12 years old, and I started to dig for my dad because he was into the hobby too, and I seen that he was finding some really neat coins and stuff. And when I started off 10 years ago, that's what I was focused on, coins. I had no idea all of the other things that I could find in the ground. And when I started to find relics, I kind of leaned towards that way because I would do research on it, and then it kind of build a story, you know. And I love history.
The story
so,
behind the find.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, I still like finding coins. Don't get me wrong, but I just love to go out and find the history on the relics, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And most recently, an 1876 seated dime.
Yeah.
So,
that was an amazing dig there.
Yeah, I mean, so it's definitely cool to find the coins.
Yeah, see, we actually, I joined, his name is Chris from, Dirt Fishing, Ohio, and we met up in a, undisclosed location, and, just did some door knocking, and the first house we arrived at, they were more than happy to let us do it. The home was actually built in 1836. So, Chris actually dug an 1836 large cent. It was
that is
just
cool.
Amazing. And then, we started finding other things, like his seated quarter. I found a 3-cent nickel, first one ever, bucket lister major, and then a shield nickel. And then my favorite find was the Union officer coat button from the Civil War. That made my dig. And it was great that I found that coin, don't get me wrong, but it was the button that really got me, Because I'm a relic girl. I just love those.
Yeah, you're going, oh yeah, well I got the coin, but look at this!
Yeah.
Well, congratulations, Sam.
I nicked it with my shovel, and I could have cried. I just sat there and I know it happens. But and it's still in great shape. Had the shank, it was in beautiful shape.
And it'll still look good in a display.
Absolutely, it's in a display right now.
There you go. Maybe even a little piece of paper with it or something that identifies it, or a little description of it.
Yes, sir.
Wow. I see that Suki's in the house and Trooper Bry has dropped in.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, in mind of that, with these relics that you have been preserving, I mean, you've got 10 years under your belt now.
Yes, I do.
You have found quite a bit, I'm sure. Do you try to do all that you can to preserve and display, or do you just kind of toss them in a box and set them in the corner and look at them on rainy days, or?
Well, I'll tell you, it's a little bit of both, because when I first started out, and I started to buy china cabinets, I actually have 3 in my home. I have several things that are hanging on my wall, including an 8-foot-long 2-man saw that took me almost an hour to dig out of the ground, and it has every tooth on it. I mean, it's gorgeous. It's on my wall.
Very
I started
cool.
I started to fill the cabinets up, and then as I'm bringing more stuff in, I would take things like horseshoes that I found, and I'd start to stack them in a pile, and I'm up to about 30 horseshoes. I have about 15 axe heads. They're just kind of in a pile off to the side, and then I have bottles and things and just buttons and buckles. And they're full. They're completely full. And I'm looking to get another cabinet.
Wow.
Now, some of these finds, though, I mean, I'm not keeping them for myself. I'm actually doing some research on them a little bit further. And I'm working with local museums. Down here we have our Denison Depot that's real big with the World War II because of the trains that came in. And the soldiers actually dubbed the town Dreamsville because when they came through, they were so homesick and they missed their families. And there were volunteer women that showed up with coffee and donuts and sandwiches, kind of like to give them a hometown feeling, So they dubbed the town Dreamsville. And lately around here, working with that museum, which I still have to meet up with Holly because I have all these great things. I have World War II buttons. I have actually military buttons, different types of flags from 1917, and just several different salt seals. Just things that I need to get donated down there, and that's in basically every town around here. I'm working with the Sugar Creek Museum. I'm working with the Ragersville Museum. I just have several different places that these are being donated to. So not only I get to see these, everybody, it tells a story for anybody that can go in there and say, wow, that's from here. What is that?
Right. They are preserved for posterity and on display for all the locals to enjoy, basically.
Absolutely. Yes, yes.
So these items, you are, in fact, a messenger, a helper in a sense, allowing that story to continue for the future generations, and that is very cool.
Yeah, kind of like a mediator, and I guess I'm doing good. I mean, my cabinets are full when I thought, things lined up to go, and I think it's just a great feeling. It really is, knowing that even after I'm long and gone, kids of future generations are going to see that. It is a great feeling. It is.
Exactly. You're leaving your mark, and you're doing it quite well. And very respectfully, too, I might add.
Yeah, it seems like now, anytime that I do go out on a dig, it's for a purpose. It's like, what can I find here to donate? What can I find here to tell the story or even add to the story that we already have? Even in my own yard. And it is funny with, the name that I chose for my group was the Backyard Diggers. And it's because all the time you hear people say, wow, I seen that on TV. I would love to go to Oak Island, or I'd love to go to the ocean and go into the, treasure ships and stuff. Most of the best history that links to them is in their own backyard. I mean, I really don't have to travel far. There's so many areas around here just full of history, It might not go back as far as the state of Florida, but still, I mean, we still have, pioneers that came through in the 1700s, and even finding one of their buckles, I did find one colonial buckle in Harrison County, and that just blew me away. That had to do a whole new story,
Right.
Yeah.
I can certainly understand that, and you're right, it's a good point. I tell people that are entering the hobby, the best place to start is your own backyard. It gives you a chance to learn your machine, proper techniques for cutting plugs, and hiding that you were there, and you never know what you're going to find. Granted,
you are correct.
We may not be digging up things like they would in, say, England, but we all have very interesting history that's respective to our own geographic areas.
You're right, and we can find things that England can't find. I mean, it kind of goes both ways. I was talking to Danny, who is in another country, and Mr. Cabernet, I believe they call him, and he was blown away by some of the things that I found, and I'm like, are you kidding me? You have like 1,600, 1,500 things, and it's like you don't realize that, even though they're much older over there, they don't have that access to the stuff here. So, I mean, we were talking about trading a few things back and forth. I'm still looking forward to that, yeah.
I see Michigan Joe, Past Pursuits, and Al Fu have dropped into the chat.
Hello.
They have.
Now, an interesting question, because we've seen, you've been on Utah's chat, the Family Campfire chat with Mr. Cabernet, and which, for those who follow that sort of thing, Utah's back tomorrow night on YouTube. I believe Delaware Digger is the guest, but we've seen you on Utah's chat. Right. We saw you Friday on Detect America. You were on there for a few minutes talking shop.
Right.
And, you know, you've had all the questions, I'm sure, you know, what's your
Yeah.
favorite find and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
I find it interesting that you originally got into the hobby when you were around the age of 12 with your dad. Your metal detecting is in your blood. It's in your family. Many family members own detectors.
Right.
And then apparently you got out, but then you got back in 10 years ago.
Yeah.
What got you away from the hobby, and what brought you back?
Being only 12, my dad actually got out of the hobby. And,
Okay.
you know, naturally I couldn't get my own detector at 13 and 14 years old. You know, I was out learning skills, and I'm one of them kind of girls that worked on cars and was always into the guns and things with my dad. So everything that he did kind of stuck with me.
Real tomboys, so to speak.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, about 10 years ago, you know, just actually going through flea markets and seeing the coins and talking to my dad about it, and he would bring up old stories about him and my Uncle Kenny, who would go to, they actually went to this old church and just found, you know, a silver cross necklace and a very old coin, and I can't remember what kind it was. And it's like, wow, I wonder, you know, if I could actually do that myself. Because I was always digging for my dad. I never really got to, you know, swing it and get out there and do that myself at that age. So I decided to just to look online and kind of price them. And, you know, since my dad used the whites, and everybody in my family that metal detected used the whites. I've heard nothing but great things about them, and I can back that. I've had wonderful success with the machines I've had.
Oh, absolutely. Look at your finds.
Yeah. Well, I bought the first detector that I got was the Prism 2, and I bought that off of eBay, and it was low price and a good starter, just in case life got too busy or if I just didn't pick it up. But I really did pick it up. I mean, within a couple of months, I had found stuff at the local parks that paid for a Prism 3. It just blew me away. And then with the 3, it was more. There was more depth, and I was able to read it a little bit better because I had more experience, and I was invited to check out an old town that it used to be a town, late 1700s, early 1800s, but now is a complete cornfield. When I went out there with my Prism 3, I was finding, oh my goodness, large cents. I found T dimes out there. I found a 3-cent piece. I found tokens, presidential tokens, furs, I mean, old knives. It was just so amazing what that machine was picking up, and I spent the rest of it, about 6 years with that machine, and it never let me down. And then just this past December, I decided to upgrade, and I went to VMXT. And it even, wow, that would even blows me away because, there's different tones. There's, the VDI numbers are great. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to be upgrading again soon.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I know I had heard you mention before that you had been used, one of the old Blue Box 6000s and then got, obviously out of it for a while. Life happens. Maybe it was life responsibilities or jobs or boys or whatever, but then you got back into it, and I thought, why aren't these people asking her what brought her back to the hobby?
Yeah. A lot of, there was with all of those life events, with having kids, I actually have an 11-year-old son, and when he was old enough to walk around and talk and things, he started going with me, and he continues to go with me. So that makes it easy for me. I'm a single mom. I have, 2 kids, and I have a nephew that I help take care of, and he goes with me too. And my oldest son, he's just too old. He's 17. He's not into this kind of thing. He's into the, his girlfriend and playing guitar and working his job. But I was blessed with that because I'm able to take them with me. There's no cut in personal bonding time with my kids. I mean, it's great. It really is. I was blessed with that.
Right. Especially being able to enjoy the hobby like that. The younger generation is getting involved. For you, it truly is a family hobby.
It is. When I asked them, "Look, guys, what do you want to do today?" "Mom, let's go metal detecting." I'm so proud. So
Right, when they're dragging you out to go hunting, you know you're doing it right. You know they're enjoying it.
It's great, it is. And, I'm not forcing them to go. They don't complain. Every once in a while they will, if they get bored with it, we'll just leave or go do something else. But I'm hoping that I can pass on the passion like I have. And my son, he has a little wooden box to keep all his little finds in and everything. And it's just great. It really is.
Wow. That is just, and you're so energetic about the hobby and the history, which is definitely a great thing to see.
Yeah. I got a lot. When you go down the street and you catch yourself looking at sandstones and you're looking for slate roof, you're hooked pretty good. My
Exactly.
son's even going, "Mom, look at that house. We could hit that house." I'll give him a high five,
Oh, wow. So you've even got the kids watching for it,
Oh,
too.
yeah. Yeah, they'll find foundations if we're just driving to the lake or something. And, "Mom, look, there's a sandstone." And it's like, okay, we're going to turn around. Check it out a little bit. But it is. They've got the eye for it, And my niece, her name's Kira. She is 12, I believe. And she actually goes too. She uses my whites too. And actually, my son, I had just won a metal detector off of a Alice All metal detecting site.
Oh,
and,
congratulations!
Yeah, it was a Fisher 2, and I struggled trying to learn it a little bit because it's so much different than the whites, and I really had a hard time teaching him how to use it. He's trying to work with it a little bit. He gets a little frustrated, and he'll go over to the one that he knows how to use. So, I have several machines, so it's helpful when, a niece or a nephew wants to go, and they're out there swinging with me, and it's just great.
And we've got a gentleman in the chat that just commented and said, "I had the pleasure of hunting with Sam today."
Oh, Mr. John Parrish. Yeah, he's a great guy. He is. He's a great guy. He's fun.
Yeah, so you definitely have some support from the chat the way it looks.
Yeah, I hope so. I want to give a good impression to let people know, I'm out there for the passion. I'm out there to save history like everybody else, and I'm not big on the competition. I'm not big on the puffy chest type thing, and I kind of shy away from that. I just would rather dig myself than to have somebody with me that say, "Oh, look what I found, and it's better than yours." And it just gets ugly that way, I think.
Right. Well, and I think that's a nice, refreshing look at things, because there are, let's face it, there are a lot of us out there that they seem to be more focused on the monetary value of it. What can I get from this? This is my find. I found it. Mine. And there's not nearly enough that are out there focused on not the monetary aspect of it.
Right.
But the
history. I can tell you, John Parrish, he's definitely in it for the history. There's, a bunch of these great guys that, I led a relic recovery project, nearby here in Zora, Ohio. And I had, diggers come in. We had, there was Pennsylvania, from West Virginia, and all over Ohio. They were all in it for the history and the passion of it. It was great. It was a great time to have the big group there. It was great.
Oh, absolutely. And when you can get people together like that for the good of the common cause, like-minded people with a common goal, a combined interest, it's a great thing. It really is.
It is. It is very exciting. And I'm one of those kind of people that have a hard time sleeping when you got a real good thing coming up the next day. I tried to do much research.
True. That is so true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you can attest to that with the Vicksburg hunt, Chris.
Oh yeah, it was drove from Houston to Alexandria all the way up to Vicksburg, and time we got there it was late, but I don't know how late we stayed up. And of course, Kenny and I stayed up, I don't know how long, and then up and down and all around. It was exciting. The first day was more of a learning the lay of the land, but that second day, I don't think anybody slept that night. It was just one of those hunts you just, and like that button, Sam, you found. To me, a button, especially a button, a coin, of course, I don't know how many people could handle the coin, but the button, it came from one person. So it's more personal finding that button. That's the way I am. I've got all my buttons in, a little case, but I've been doing this for 50 years. Everything else is in coffee cans, here, there, and everywhere. So you guys will probably see me on hoarders one of these days, but oh well.
I do have buckets and baggies of Clad. I do.
Yeah. I do too. And I don't even, what's that on Clad? I don't even cash in. I got coffee cans with the Clad quarters. I just toss them in there. Nickels, same thing. Not the zinc. The Zinkies are so bad, well, I just toss them because they're too far from them.
I do cash in sometimes, I got kids, I'm a single mom, Clad, I'm cashing it in. I'm perfectly fine with that. I'll find all the Clad. Like today, John and I were at a property, and most of these Clad finds were surface. The hill, the way this grass was, it come out and come down, and then it went out and went down and went down. I mean, it was endless clear down to the road, and it's like we were figured, well, maybe they were in the lawnmower and their pockets spilled out, because they were just laying all over the place. It was crazy.
Wow.
Well, and that's the thing, like you said, learn your tones and listen for those, but look with your eyes, because as you're looking with your eyes, you're still listening to those tones, and you're still going to find it. And like you said, if you go on a group hunt, it's always fun to go on a group hunt, and it's not, like you say, competitive. But it's so much neat fun to, when you find something, to share it with everybody, because then it's like they found it too. Or, if you find something, when you share it with them, it's a big camaraderie. It's so much fun, because it's not like, well, I got this. Hey, we all found this, and that's what makes it fun.
That's right. When I pull together a team like that, that we're a team. The way you come in and the way you dig together is very important for success. We want the best time. We want to have fun, but we want to work hard too and work together as a team.
Right.
That's
now
the best thing right there.
Yeah. Now it's not just, look at what I did. It's look at what we accomplished.
We did accomplish. That's so true.
Yeah.
Do you still have your old 6000D, just out of curiosity?
I don't believe my dad did. He actually gave me the books to it. They're still in the Ziploc baggie that he put them in when he bought it brand new. And I still have the paperwork, and I'm not sure if he still has that or not. I know I used it after that for a little while, but my sister mainly used it, and then I have a cousin Greggy that used it on his farm. It just kind of got passed around, and the technology just has changed so much. This MXT that I have, and I can't imagine a greater machine, and I'm sure they're out there, and I'm ready to upgrade. But now that when I'm on these sites that I've been to before, I hear iron, and I'm like, I don't want to dig that, and I'll go to the next iron. But now I'm going over that with this MXT, and you hear the iron, but you hear a slight high tone. It's the slightest, and you dig it, and there's a coin under that, or a button, and it's just, I got to go re-hit all the sites I've already been to.
Yeah, you're going, wow, what have I been missing?
Exactly, yeah. It was a great investment for that, to recover history in a great way. It's amazing.
And you were talking about technology, and Josh knows this story. I've still got my detector from 50 years ago, that the coil was actually a piece of plywood with wire wrapped around it for the field, and then it was encased in a plastic, I call it a Tupperware bowl, is what I call it, but, and then you had your little adjustable box, but for a speaker, you had to use a 9-volt transistor radio.
Wow.
So I don't
That's
ever,
awesome.
I don't
Yes,
ever get
that
rid
was a
of my
little
machine.
before the white
I want to
6000.
see that. I want to see that.
Yep, it was a kit machine. My dad built it, and of course, I don't think you could find anything 1 inch deep. But as a kid, I was like you because my mom was into antiques, and we'd go out to these old home sites, and she'd be looking for models and stuff. So, I got there, kind of got interested in the metal detector, and I was like you, off and on for the past 50 years. But in the past, 5 or 6 years, Doodaddy Don and I kind of got together, and I don't think I've slowed down in the past 6 years since. It's just every weekend except for this past month and these triple-digit weekends on the temperature. I'm not going to kind of get out there. It's a little bit too warm for me.
It is hard to slow down. The only time I do not get out there and dig is when that ground is frozen. I don't care if it's 10 below, 20 below, and there's a foot of snow on the ground. If I'm able to get through that dirt, I'm out there. It's just the adrenaline of going out and finding something great, especially in some of the areas where, I found a 6th Cavalry hat pin. How on earth did we get there? How on earth, And that's what drives me back. It's like, there's got to be something else, and there's several sites around here that I can just, up and go to. I have some 5 minutes away. I have some up to an hour and a half away, and the possibilities are endless, and there's not a whole lot of people in my area here, particularly, that I know about that do this. And I'm trying to get some kind of club together and an organization to bring people in, and have a group type thing. I think it would be great. Because somewhere out there's somebody else like me going, boy, I wish I had somebody to dig with today.
Right.
Well, that's so true. I'm part of that Michelou Relic crew. Well, they're over Louisiana and Mississippi, and of course I'm here in Houston. So for me, it's like a 4-hour drive to get over there, and then from there, wherever we go, it's hours after that. But it's not the drive. It's just like you said, Sam. It's the excitement. It's finding the history and preserving it.
Right, getting to meet other people in the hobby and enjoy their company and the finds that they're making too.
Yeah. I love seeing posts online. I'm on several pages. Detect America, the Stealth Diggers, Al's page. And there's several others that I'm on, and even on my own Backyard Diggers, people that have coming onto my page and posting things, and it's like, wow. It's in the middle of the night sometimes, and I want to go put a headlamp on and get out there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it looks like Ringfinder's talking it up in the chat about them old Nautiluses again.
Yeah.
I suppose we probably should make sure we've got those phone lines open, too, in case anybody's got any questions for you, Sam, or comments.
Okay.
So for anybody who does have questions or comments, 419-549-5744. Because I imagine it's a good possibility that they may. And there was Ringfinder, I think, had asked in the chat if you were from Ohio. And yes, in fact, you are from Ohio.
Yeah, born and raised Tuscarawas County. I've lived here all my life, except a few months here. We had traveled to Florida when I was 6, and I got to see the beach for the first time ever, and that was the only time I've ever been to the beach. And I would love to take my detector out to the beach. But I haven't yet. Yeah, I was born and raised here.
It's a lot of fun at the beach, Sam. I'm 45 minutes from Galveston, so it's just a matter of jumping in the truck and zipping down there and going.
Wow.
And get down there before everybody else goes, and then as soon as it starts getting crowded, I like crowds, but after being on the phone all day at work and talking to people, I kind of like to just get out there and enjoy it. And when it starts getting crowded, kind of mosey on back up here to Houston.
Yeah, just I'm not expecting to find like a whole bunch of stuff like I find up here, in the woods and stuff, but just to say, hey, I tried that. You never know what you would find out there. You never know.
Right.
Yeah. And you're out there, people come up to you, hey, I lost a ring. That would be nice.
Yeah.
I do a lot of ring recoveries here. Yeah.
So you are primarily or I guess exclusively, actually, a dirt digger.
Yeah. Yep.
And
Yeah.
your, what style of hunting do you mainly do? I mean, are you mainly hunting fields or mainly hunting woods or?
Woods. I actually prefer to, I mean, I'll hunt anywhere, but what I like to focus on are the old homesteads. They're back in the woods that people had actually forgotten about for years, because most of the things you find there, they're going to be old. And you'll have less time, of digging up, you'll still find pop cans and beer cans from the hunters, but less time digging up those types of things, and you'll get good things. To me, a horseshoe is a good thing. It's neat to find a railroad spike out in the middle of nowhere. It's just old tools, it's just, and I have all that. I've also got a cabinet on my back porch that I keep, the old hammers and the old wrenches and ear tagging equipment type things, all of that kind of stuff I keep on my back porch. I mean, I'd love to get a huge electrolysis machine and start dropping this stuff in it, but eventually I will. I do electrolysis a lot of the smaller finds they have.
Well, and really, it'd been nice if Kenny had been along here at this point, because if you're finding railroad spikes out in the middle of nowhere,
yeah,
you're stumbling onto somebody's campsite, most likely.
That's right. That's so true.
Oh,
Scott.
I wondered why, because when I did the old historical maps back to 1875, I didn't see any railroad tracks.
Yeah, exactly. See, when you find them and there's not a railroad anywhere nearby, or wasn't in the old maps,
wow,
a lot of times they were using those as tent stakes.
Now I have to go back to a couple sites. Oh, that's great. I learn something every day in this hobby, and I soak it up. This is good information.
See,
I will remember that.
And that's the great part about this hobby, is how much we are able to learn either on our own or from each other.
Yeah, that's a big one. I have learned so much since I have been online with this hobby. I've only been online with the hobby for, I don't know, maybe a year or two. I started, my website and started to post a couple things, and then it started to really pick up. And then I was introduced to the Stealth Diggers page, and then it kind of went off from there. I met some really great people. My digs, all of the people from, that I had there were from the Stealth Diggers, and they were local, and they come over and they took their time and they spent a couple days here and just made a great, a great effort, and it was great. I was so thankful.
Right. Well, isn't this a nice, pleasant surprise? Mr. Ringfinder, how is it going, sir?
I'm doing fine. How are you tonight?
Hello,
Just
Denny.
fine.
Hi there, buddy.
Hi.
Hey,
How you doing, sir?
hi, Sam. I'm a Northwest Ohio boy, and I know quite a few people over your way if you're near Dover.
Yeah,
Yep,
Denny's
I
up
am.
here around my neck of the woods.
Yep, that's right. And I see you were talking about spikes. I had to chime in on railroad spikes.
When I saw your
Thank
call
you.
come across the screen, I thought, you know what, he's got something to add to this, because Denny is big on the Civil War relic hunting himself.
Wonderful.
He loves to attend the DIVs and stuff like that.
Okay.
And we do find a lot of railroad spikes because that's how they laid out their campsites.
Okay.
So, and also in Ohio, while I'm thinking about it and what Josh said, you want to make sure you got your plat maps from the early 1800s.
Right.
You have any of those?
I do carry them, yeah. I do an overlay, and I carry them. I carry pictures on my phone. And while I'm driving, I pull up the map and I follow the map as I'm driving. I mean, I'm on it.
Well, you can't, a lot of your maps, but, I've got overlays too, but a lot of the roads aren't there anymore. Some roads have moved, and I'm a big one-room schoolhouse hunter myself, and you can, a lot of times I'll get out and where I think it should be, I'll check all four corners of the road not necessarily on your map it's going to show a schoolhouse, but it may not
point,
be on
because
that corner.
sometimes the maps are inaccurate. It'll show it on one side of the road when it's on the other.
I have encountered that. Yeah.
A lot of times what happened is they built a wooden one on that corner where it said it was, and on the other corner they built the brick one.
Oh, so the wood one on, like, where the map indicates one was like the temporary placement while they were building the permanent one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so, and you want to watch some of our roads that aren't there anymore is where the one-room schoolhouse would have been, and it may be right in the middle of a field. I mean, if you're driving along and you see one in the middle of a field, that means there was a road going through there at one time. And if you look on your old plat maps, you'll see that road. So that means on that road that's not there anymore, there were houses on that road too, out in the field.
You're right. I do have maps that show that, absolutely. And I've had to actually locate a schoolhouse that I couldn't find. I mean, I had it on the map. There was no indication of any building being there at all, and the road was different. I actually knocked on a nearby resident, and they actually told me where it was, and I lucked out. It was on their property.
Sure.
So I got lucky there.
Nothing wrong with that.
Another good place to go is any small museum you can find. A lot of your big ones have plat maps too, but a lot of the smaller museums have a book on the old timers, and they will tell you, if you read the book enough, they will tell you, yes, the one-room schoolhouse was here, but a half-mile down the road, they built the brick schoolhouse on the other side of the road.
You know, I do read those. I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I access in Google Books. I pulled up the history on a certain township in my county or any other county, and I'm actually able to read through a little bit of deeper history than what I've heard or neighbors have said. But it does go into detail, and I've seen that where it says there was one here, and then there was one here, and then there was a mill in the back, but that's not on the map.
Right.
I look for any kind of resource I can to find these locations.
Yeah, in the wintertime, the wintertime's a good time to knock on doors, and I take, actually Calico down in Florida has a really good, it's a map that you carry with you. It doesn't have anything on it. And then it also has who you got permission from, and you can lay out, you can write on it and say, Road R and Road P come together here, and who gave me permission to, and it is a great form to have, and they give these things out free, and I highly recommend them to anyone. I've copied hundreds of them and give them away. But on the back of it also, when you go there and hunt, you have a place to put all your finds on the back. And you can put the date on that you found it and where you found it, just like an archaeologist would.
Okay.
Yeah, catalog of items.
Right.
Are those accessible, like online? Could I print them off of a website, or?
I think if you go to Calico, they may have them in there. We could buy a pack of them, of 25 or 100 of them. After that, you just copy your own. But or they may even send you some for free. All you got to do is ask. Calico,
and it's a good possibility that you could find them online somewhere where maybe somebody has scanned them in as a PDF.
But, I would just get a hold of Calico, because they're probably, at DIV, they furnish all of our water for 500 hunters. For 3 days or a whole week, they furnish us all our water.
Yeah.
So they're very receptive, and a lot of times they'll give away metal detectors for a hunt or whatever it might be, but I'm sure they would give you that paper. Just some suggestions. You got other callers calling in, Josh?
Nobody's coming through yet.
Okay. I can just grab all night long with Sam.
She does love to talk shop. And shout out J Mo's in the house. So welcome, NH Treasure Hunter.
All right.
So there's another Sam supporter.
Yeah.
So how long have you been metal detecting, Sam?
About 10 years.
Okay, well, I'm only going on 35, so.
Well, I hope for many, many more. I really do.
Oh, yeah.
I hope to accomplish more in between. You know, and I know that, you know, when my kids get old enough and they leave the nest, I'll probably get an RV and travel all over Ohio.
There you go. 603, you're on the air with myself, Denny Morrison, Sam Waters, and Chris Engel. Who do we have?
What is up, my diggers?
Oh, J-Mo's in the house.
Hey, J-Mo.
Hello, J-Mo. Hey, guys, how's it going?
Not too bad. Right. Always a pleasure to hear from Jay, one of the stealth diggers.
Yeah, I wasn't able to catch the beginning of the show. I was running around doing errands and stuff like that, and heard you guys give me a shout out. I figured I'd call in and say hi to Sam.
How are you? It's good to talk to you.
I'm doing good. How you doing, sweetie?
I'm doing good. You know, I've got something planned, you know, coming up in October, and I'm really, really working hard. I have a lot of people helping out, and it's going to be successful. I believe.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I've been running.
Absolutely.
Been busy.
Good grief. We've got lines blowing up all of a sudden now.
All right.
Well, you said nobody was calling in, and then I figured I'll get it rolling.
I guess.
J-Mo's the star.
let's see who else we've got here. 860, who do we have?
Trooper Bragg.
Wow, another stealth digger. And let's see here, 937, I believe.
Yeah, that's Greg.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Hey, how are you?
I'm good, doing great.
Okay, looks like we've got quite a gang here. I guess whoever wants to chime in first, go ahead.
Hey, I'll just shoot a little shot in. I've been following Sam for about the last year on some of the Facebook and the group sites. I tell you what, this lady, for no longer that she's been in it, she has the passion that's going to just keep a lot of interesting things coming from her direction for a long time to come. I truly believe that. She's got a real passion for working with people and trying to get projects that are very worthy put together, and I know she puts a lot of effort into what she puts into planning, and it's always fun to see what Sam's latest postings are on Facebook, because this gal really wants to go at the detecting hobby in the way it should be.
Yeah, keep your eye out. There's a pretty big one coming up. I want everybody to kind of be aware that, you know, just keep your eye out. I have something planning pretty big, and it's going to be a great success. It's going to be great for history. It really is. It's going to mean a lot to a small community and mean a lot to a nation, and I can promise that.
And we certainly have not heard the last of Sam Waters.
No.
You're going to be seeing and hearing a lot more.
You will.
About what she is doing. It's just great, the things that she's got in the works, and it doesn't stop there. Speaking with Sam, we will be seeing more from her for some time to come. That is just, it's great.
Yeah, it is. It's a good feeling that I'm able to do this. And just as I look back, I mean, I started off just digging holes and digging nails and digging stuff for my dad, you know, in school, and to be able to say that I've come this far, and you know, without the support right away, I mean, I was going out there myself. I had no resources. And this was before I got online with it. You know, I didn't know how to do anything, so I started to go to libraries. I started to talk to people. And that's just really where it started. I worked my butt off, and I did the research, and it's really paying off well, I think. I'm having a great time.
Absolutely.
You know, Sam, I got to chime in here again. You say you did a lot of research at libraries.
Yeah.
I call it a metal detecting Bible, and I have 5 counties, and every township from each county from the 1860s that I've copied.
There you
That's
go.
the kind of thing I go in to look for, yeah.
And I'm telling you, people say there's no place to hunt. I can give you one township, and you won't be able to hunt it in your lifetime.
Right. It's right in your own backyard.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's kind of the situation she's got herself in her neck of the woods.
Yeah, I'm here, and it's good. It kind of keeps me close to home, with kids in school and stuff, and I'm always got places to go. When I originally started my website, thebackyarddiggers.jimdo.com, I wanted it kind of set up, and I have a hard time with HTML, so I got somebody working on it for me. Each county in Ohio, I wanted listed separate. Under each county, I wanted each township listed separate. And then under each one of those tabs, all of the finds. And that's still my goal. That's still my goal to do that, to be able to say, we saved this much history for this town, in this town, in this town. And it's endless. You'll never run out of places to go. Never.
Right.
I gotta agree there.
Yeah.
I hadn't had the chance to mention it when we went live. I was going to, and we got to rolling so quick and everything. I was going to post a picture today, did not. Before we went live, I had decided we were looking for a certain caller number, and Trooper Bry actually fell into the slot. So, Trooper Bry, you've won yourself a Life Gear Carabiner Light and Copper Bullion round. Drop me a private message on Facebook, and I'll get that sent out to you.
What?
I don't know.
Nice.
Nice.
Trooper Bry, are you a state trooper by any chance?
No, it's a nickname I got, and the story's hilarious.
Okay.
I'll tell you guys someday.
No.
I smell another guest for Sight and Sound.
Yes, I am picking up on that scent myself, Jay.
Yep.
And I'm sure it would be a blast.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, by the way, for letting me call in first.
Yeah, see, Jay can go, see, I hooked you up, man. I jumped right in there. Cleared the path for you.
Yeah.
That's great.
What did, and I see Greg's hopped off. He's probably back in the chat. Did you have any comments or questions for Sam Bry?
Yeah, in fact, I do. First of all, it's amazing the energy she has. I know she works, she's got kids, she puts in a ton of time on all these sites, and I especially wanted to put a thank you to her on Stealth Figures. She came up with a great idea called the Finds a Month.
Oh, yeah.
And I've done work on websites, and I've done types of stuff like that. It's amazing that between everything she does already, she had to find the time to do that as well. I mean, every week she organizes everyone's favorite finds, and there's 1,700 plus people in the Stealth Figures group. And then once she posts that, she narrows it down to the contenders, and then after that, she takes every week's finds and puts that into the month challenge, and that's no shortage of work. So I wanted to make sure that she gets what she deserves on that, which is a lot of hard work. We appreciate it.
Oh,
thank you. I'm glad it's working. I have a lot of fun with that because honestly, it drives people to say, "Wow, what can I find that's, really cool today that I can post on Monday?" And who all actually sits back and says, "Boy, I can't wait for Monday to come here." Now they do.
Right,
they look
something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
And I even mentioned to her the other day, I'm like, good grief, where do you find the time?
Yeah. Like I said, I was blessed by having kids that love to do it. We go to work and they go to school, and in the evenings we spend a few times after homework. I mean, we make time on the weekends, and then when they're visiting friends, and they don't want to go, they want to go swimming with their friends, I'll go hit the ground by myself for a little while. Absolutely. I mean, there's always time for something that you really care about, and my kids are number one to me, absolutely, and I'm so blessed to have them in this hobby. I'm so blessed that they love it.
I agree. That's definitely very awesome.
You definitely put in your time, and it's just amazing. Same thing with Josh. If I had to ask one question of Sam Waters, it would be, where do you find the time?
Right.
That would be it, yeah. I mean, I can run on 6 hours of sleep. I can. And it helps being single because I can focus on my family here, with the kids. and then we do what we please. I mean, you know, and then we have time to come back and still do our normal things. You know, instead of sitting at the movies or sitting playing video games or sitting on Facebook, and well, I do that a lot in the evenings, but I do get them out. It's good activity, it's good exercise, and they meet other kids at the park, and it's great. It really is. They learn a lot from me, and they actually, you know, they'll ask a lot of questions about it. And the first day my son found an insulator, he was on cloud 9 for a long time. He's up to 6 now.
And that's great to see him getting hooked like that.
Yeah. We'll go to we'll stop at a place, you know, out in the woods somewhere, and they will immediately look for the bottle dump. I mean, they stay close, and I don't take them into any dangerous areas. That's a given. But you know, we stay close to town, because here in Tuscarawas County, there's woods everywhere, but you're right by roads. You're right by roads. Yeah, we don't go into anything dense or heavy. There are a couple places that I've walked about 1.5 miles to get to on my own. I mean, I take those kind of trips on my own, and I do carry, like I said in, you know, the DA radio show. I do carry a gun, so it makes me feel better out there.
Right, you do have to be careful.
Yeah, it's scary.
And that's not just women per se. I mean, we all do as hunters. Because you get out there like that, you are putting yourself in a potentially vulnerable situation.
Yes, you are. Safety is absolutely number one. Carry your tools. Always carry a phone and let somebody know where you're going all the time. You know, and wild animals, you know, you could, honestly, I come up on a cellar hole, and it was actually a well. I'm sorry, not a cellar hole, it was a well. And I was only a foot away from this. And it was covered with sticks. I had no idea it was there.
Right, one wrong step.
It actually made me so nervous that I actually left. I mean, not that I was scared of the place, but that was a pretty close call for me. And I just wanted to kind of call it a day that day. And then you run through your mind to go, how could I have prevented that? How could I have, you know, I could have went that well. And
right. And I'm sure Jay's probably ran across situations like that, too, in some of the cellar holes they run across.
It can be dangerous. It's like any hobby, you know. But you got to take the proper precautions, you know, use common sense, and just be aware of your surroundings at all times.
Yeah, it's just being prepared, because you never do know. Anything could happen at any time. Like you said, there's been a situation you had kind of touched on with DA where it wasn't you necessarily, but there had been the story of a hunter in the woods that was attacked.
Yeah.
And this was not by an animal, this was by people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was by a couple of people. Actually, it was private property. They weren't even supposed to be on that property. So, yeah, you just expect anything to happen. Anything.
Right. I mean, and they took his gear, they took his fines. Was this gentleman, I mean, without mentioning any names, obviously, but did this incident happen in Ohio?
I believe it happened further east. Actually, someone from this outfitter told me that story, and they know someone that knows someone. So it was just one of those stories that actually caught me in the back of my mind. It's like, hey, that could happen to you.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly.
And
no one's immune. This could happen at any time.
Yeah. And my mom calls me almost every day. Where are you digging? Where are you at? And she already knows where I'm at, but she wants to make sure I'm not moving to a new location. But sometimes I'll do that. If I'm at a location, I'm not really producing a lot of things, or if it's too dense and thick to get through, I'll just go somewhere else. And I won't even think about, you know, it's like, okay, I'm going to go over here. It's only half a mile away. Yeah, my mom, you need to tell me where you're at. And absolutely, yeah, even if you're going just a mile away or across the road, you know, let's keep in touch, keep in touch with people. And it's important. It is.
Right. Especially like in your area with that terrain, even the wetland side. One wrong step and you could potentially break an ankle, take a fall, You need to know where you're at. People need to know where you're at, especially if you're hunting alone. That way, if something does happen and you need help, you can get help to you.
Correct, that's right. And that's why I think the group digs are very important. Even if you have another person out there, buddy system is the best. If you're in trouble, somebody there's to help you or can get help or something. But not all the time. I don't have the luxury of, getting somebody that can metal detect right with me and we're gone. So I just got to think smarter, and just be aware all the time.
Right.
So it's, yeah.
Now, when you're out hunting, do you do the old, maybe one earphone off so you can hear your environment?
I actually do. I keep my right one down because that's where the cord is and it's closer to the metal detector, and I keep my left one up. Tonight, for about 10 minutes, I had them both down because those mosquitoes were just attacking my ears. I had to bring them down, and that was by a road, and it was in the woods, but near a park area, so it wasn't, it wasn't too bad. I wasn't way far out in the woods, but I just had to, and those mosquitoes chased me out. But not before I collected a buffalo nickel out of there. Within a half an hour, I had a buffalo nickel and a child's ring and a little airplane. So one of the wings are gone, but these properties have been there. They were there prior to 1939, and they were gone before the 60s. So they were railroad properties. So it's very thick woods there, and I have to wait until fall to really hit that place. But I snagged some goods before they chased me out.
There you go. And with the rainfall that Ohio has had, the mosquitoes are real contenders this year.
We've seen some mosquitoes up here that I normally don't see. They are large. They're like black bodies with white legs, and they're huge, and they almost attack you.
Yeah.
They will just fly around and give you a warning. I don't know what kind they are, but they're huge.
We were talking last week that they get...
they bite right to your clothes, too. That's the thing.
Yeah, we were talking last week that they get clearance from an air tower or something. They've got tail numbers. They're so big.
Wow. Yeah, they are. I don't know where they came from, but they've got to go back.
Right.
Yeah. There's another danger I want to point out that not a lot of people think about while they're out in woods. Underground bee nests. I've come across two, and I've got lucky both times. You just got to run for your life. That's all I can say. Yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Well, that's a good point. That's another thing to watch for, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, with you being a woman in the hobby, it's like I've said, we've seen more and more, and they've been around a while, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But it seems like they are being noticed more and given more attention in recent years.
Yeah.
Have you found coming into the hobby, say 10 years ago, did you notice any, opposition, so to speak, because you were a woman trying to get into the hobby? Any advice for women who would like to get into the hobby?
Just don't ever give up. I've been discouraged quite a few times. When you're sitting around with a couple other people that do metal detecting, they're male. They have a tendency to, in my experience, talk over you. It's almost like any other hobby that you like that's supposed to be a male hobby, like cars. I helped my dad build a 65 Mustang. I helped him build the engine, and we take it to car shows. They wouldn't talk to me. It was my car. They would just talk to my dad, and that's basically the same thing for any hobby that's supposed to be a man's in that world, with like the guns and things like that. But metal detecting was the same way. But
so is there maybe maybe some people in the hobby may have tried to intimidate?
Yeah, kind of like the Huffy Puffy. I'm a male and I'm able to do this but you know what? I've done my work, and I just went out and did it for myself, and my finds and my research have spoken for themselves. I am good at just as any guy out there, you know.
Right, so you were just kind of going, well, you know, you can think what you want, but I am woman, hear me roar, and look at what I can do too.
You know, I don't try to, like, make myself better than anybody else. I mean, because people, I mean, there are females and males out there that have found some amazing things. And I'm like,
absolutely.
Wow. You know, I don't care if it's a guy or a girl. You know, I think it's great. I mean, it doesn't matter where they're from, or it's just amazing to see what they're able to recover. And I have some bucket lists that people are plucking out of the ground. I mean, over there in, you know, with Dave Wise, he's plucking them inaugural buttons out, and I'm like, I just want one. Is there one here? You know, and it's amazing what they're able to do in their location.
Well, if there is, and Dave catches wind of it, it may not be there for long.
Well, you know why? You know why that is, don't you?
Why is that?
Because George Washington came through Connecticut.
Oh, that's right. That's a good point. Yeah.
He had his campaigners moving along the way, making these buttons up, and they would go through the towns along the route that George Washington traveled through in Connecticut, through like Boston and New York. And the campaigners
who
made buttons in Connecticut. That's why you have probably a better percentage of finding them in Connecticut than, say, other areas.
Right. Odds are very much better that you will run across them. And Dave has found quite a few of them, but he doesn't let it go to his head. He's just,
not at all.
You know, I'm very fortunate to be able to recover the items that I do.
Right. He's very knowledgeable. I mean, when I first started on Stealth Diggers, there were a few buttons that I had questions on, and right away everybody's like tagging, you know, Dave Wise. So I'm like, oh, who's this guy? He must be, you know, really knowledgeable on this, and he is.
Yes, he is.
He's really, really good with that, and I'm glad that I'm able to, you know, certain finds that I have here are good for this area that somebody far away will find and say, well, what in the world is that? And they'll post it, and I'm able to chime in and say, yeah, I have several of those. It's this, and this is how old it is. I love doing that. I like to go onto, you know, the ID and the WTF page and just kind of scroll through. And I mean, it's great to help each other out. We got a huge network across the United States to say, yep, that's what that is. And it's nice. My knowledge has expanded so much since I've been in, you know, these groups.
Absolutely. And Dave is a very knowledgeable gentleman, a great hunter in the hobby with a lot of passion. We've got, he's a very well-respected hunter in the hobby.
I'll agree. There are quite a few that I follow, and I love to see their finds, you know, with Dave Wise and Jeff Fisher, you know, Greg Shipley. There's so many that, I mean, I can't even name them all. You know, it's just a huge network of great people.
Right.
It really is.
843, you're on the air. Who do we have?
Hey, it's me, Al Fu of Alcohol Metal Detecting.
Hello, Al.
How's it going, everyone?
Hello, Al.
Sam, I just wanted to throw this out to you really quick. It's an absolute honor and a privilege to have someone of your stature involved in my humble metal detecting Facebook group, and I really appreciate you.
Well, thanks for having me there. I mean, it's great. It is. I'm glad I can contribute.
And you do. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Wow. That is just, I mean, you know you've got support and respect and stuff like that when you get comments like that. You know you're doing things the right way.
Oh, yeah. She is on the right track for sure.
Yes, she is.
Thank you. I feel good, so I must be doing something right.
Excellent. All right, guys. Have a great night, all right?
All right.
You too, thanks.
Hey, Sam, there's Ohio Relic Hunter has a question for you in the chat here.
Okay.
He wants to know if you run a double decoil on your MXT.
If I what? I'm sorry.
If you run a double decoil.
Currently, I use the 5.3 Eclipse. It's small and it's quite powerful.
Right, nice small footprint, works good in the brush.
Yeah, the D2 would be a great tool for this metal detector because I know that with the 5.3 you lose a little bit of depth, so I need that depth plus the small coil because I do go around woods and trees and such. And,
or even the 4x6 shooter.
Yeah, I do have a friend actually that uses that too. And anything smaller, you know, something that would still have that depth is definitely a plus to have on it.
Right.
Currently, that's what I use right now. And I mean, I have the larger coil and stuff, but something's wrong with the connection on it. I'm not sure. So for now, you know, I'm taking my 5.3, and I'll take it in the field. It's okay.
And
you know,
we are joined by the Dirt Bandits.
How's it going?
All right.
Hello, Brother Kenny.
Hey, buddy, Chris. I appreciate you setting in. I had a couple of minutes. I told Chris that at least I got to call in or something, and thank Sam for coming on the show. I think everybody agreed that the ladies that's in this hobby is growing, and it's only good for the hobby. I wish I could have attended tonight, but we're waiting on word right now on the situation.
Right.
Family, and I didn't want to be on and off the show, on and off. So, but I had to call in, man, because you got to support this hobby.
And I'm sure you would have chimed in earlier. We were talking about finding railroad spikes out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
When I find a railroad spike out in the middle of nowhere, I get really excited.
Yeah, now
really
I am.
excited.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think Sam's a little excited too. She's planning on going back to some sites because there were no railroads nearby. And you know what that means, Kenny.
No doubt, yeah. Search all around. A lot of times, about 8 feet from that one, you can find another one to draw your perimeter around. I've actually found all 4 of them where they use them for tent stakes.
Wow.
And I found all 4 of them there. So, you know, you always got to hit it hard and dig it all. And
that's my motto.
Yeah, dig it all.
Yeah.
That's what you got to do.
Dig it all. You're right.
Well, I just wanted to chime in, let you guys know that, you know, I wanted to let Sam know in particular that thanks for coming on to the show. And, hopefully by next week, I can get back into the show here. I miss it. I miss all the listeners and the chat. And, so for now, I'm going to get off here and, like I say, dig it all.
All right.
Take care, Brother Kenny.
Thank you.
We'll see you, buddy. Anything else to add in closing or anything, Sam? Where to find you? Anything like that?
Sure. On Facebook, I'm on the Backyard Diggers page. If you're not sure, just ask somebody on any of the other pages. They'll direct you to me. I also have my website, which is backyarddiggers.jimdo, which is JIMDO.com. And I also have a YouTube channel, which is also Backyard Diggers. So come look me up, check out some of the things that I found. If you have any other questions, get a hold of me. It'd be great. And if you're local, let's try to set up a dig.
All right. Well, then, hang in there with me, everyone, and we'll roll out of here. For those who did tune in, thanks for everyone who tuned in tonight, interacted in the chat, called in, helped share the promo for the show, the whole 9 yards. It is definitely appreciated. We always appreciate the support. And speaking of which, if you enjoyed the show, by all means, rate the channel, drop me a line. If you've got a topic you'd like to hear covered, maybe a guest you'd like to hear, by all means, reach out. Let me know. We'll see what happens. Tonight's show all come up kind of spur of the moment. I think Sam was a little surprised at first, but
yeah.
But that's all right. We keep people on their toes. You always got to keep them guessing. We're pretty much to the end of our rope here. Hang in there with me, folks. We're going to roll out. We'll roll the music, and obviously, we'll see you all next week, I do believe.